Welcome back to Mindless Podcast. This is episode 27, and as you can see, Heather is not here. We're remembering to address when someone isn't here in like the beginning and not at the end of the recording. So I'm pretty proud of that. So because it's just gonna be me and Eva today, we're not gonna have a riddle because I'm simply not smart enough to get it, and there's no I can't bounce ideas off of Heather or anything. So we're just gonna skip the riddle today and go right into our topic, which is just stuff to binge during quarantine. So first up, we have shows, and we're just gonna go back and forth between me and Eva until we run out. So the first show I put down was The Good Place. I just watched the finale, like season 4, I think it was on Netflix a few months ago, and it's actually really really good. The first season it starts out a little bit rocky, like it doesn't seem too eventful at first. It's funny, but it's eh. But I promise you, if you stick through it, it's one of the best sitcoms I've ever watched, and I watch a ton of shows. So definitely watch that if you love a bunch of comedy and a little bit of mystery, I'd say. So, yeah.
I actually don't watch I watch TV shows, but my parents just show me a bunch of old British shows,
Mhm.
just really old shows in general. So the only one I put down was The Office. Classic, everyone knows it. Very funny. I highly recommend it.
Mhm. So, some other shows I've been watching recently, I watched Manifest, which I'm not really into horror, but it's not as much horror as it is mystery. But there are a few things where I'm like, okay, that caught me off guard. So if you're super duper scared of stuff, even more than me, I'd probably say just watch The Good Place. But Manifest, I love it because there's this mystery around it. There's a really big mystery, and it even though it goes across a couple seasons, it doesn't feel dragged out that you didn't get the final answer yet. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I super duper like it. I've watched it in a month's time. It's on NBC, I think. But it's super duper good. If you like a good mystery, then that's one I highly recommend watching. And okay, so there's sort of kind of a lot of comedies in here and more action stuff, which is mostly what I watch. So if you're down for that, just keep listening. So the next one I have is New Girl. That one's on Netflix. I love it. I think it's a classic. A lot of people like it. And it's a lot of seasons, so you won't get past that too quickly. You can always stop once you get a little bit tired of it, go to another show and come back. It's your comfort show, you can put it in the background, you can just enjoy it at night. It's great. The next one I have is any CW superhero series because I've watched a lot of them. So I've watched The Flash, Arrow, Legends of Tomorrow, Supergirl, Black Lightning, and those are the ones I have watched so far, and they're all really good. If you like comedy, I'd suggest going for DC Legends of Tomorrow. But if you like more action stuff, go for Arrow. If you like more heartfelt but still action stuff, I'd say either Supergirl or Flash because I feel like those are a little bit more they're less explicit than the Arrow, I'd say, because the Arrow is pretty gory in some scenes, a lot of blood and neck snapping. So if you're not into that, then go for The Flash and Supergirl. And DC Legends of Tomorrow, it's so funny. It's arguably their best one just because at first don't watch the first season if you cannot stand 10 episodes of just drag out and introduction of new characters or characters that weren't really brought in too much. I'd say skip the first season. You're not going to miss too much because they sort of kind of explain it in the second if you watch. So after the second season, it's amazing. And next I have another comedy. It's Young and Hungry. Again, it's on Netflix. I saw my cousin watching this one time and I watched through the entire thing. The thing is, every season it's the type of show that ends in a cliffhanger every season. Same thing with The Good Place, except they had a fourth season which was their finale and they knew that. But Young and Hungry, they got canceled before after their sixth season, I think it was. And it ends on a really big cliffhanger.
So you
So
just don't know the rest?
you just don't know. Okay, so cut this part out. If skip 10 seconds if you want to watch it. But at the end, the girl proposes to the guy, and that's how it ends. There's no yes or no to the proposal.
Oh,
So
okay.
I was really thrown off by the cliffhanger, and I was sort of kind of sad because I looked up, I went on Safari and searched it up and everything, and it got canceled. So I'm like, okay, if you're gonna
It
do
doesn't
like a
happen.
cliffhanger at the end of every single season, why don't you make sure like you're probably gonna get another season before you just throw out a cliffhanger and that's how the show ends? So if you don't like that and you feel like you've watched, so many hundreds of hours of the show and it all ends in one mystery and you still don't know it yet, then like maybe you don't watch that because it can piss some people off.
Cliffhangers, ooh, for me,
They
no.
piss
And
me
then,
off.
like, if the next episode hasn't been released, so you have to, like, wait like everyone else, if you come into the show late, then you don't have to wait because you can just skip and you think, oh, thank God, I came in late. I don't have to wait for this cliffhanger. It's great.
Mhm. Yeah. So I watched Once Upon a Time after it was all like it all came out. The last seasons were out. They were not going to make any more. So I was like, okay, cool. But again, at the end of each season, there's usually a cliffhanger. So, like, you definitely have to be in it for the long run because it's 8 seasons, I think, and it's like almost an hour each episode. I think it's 40 minutes without any commercials. But I really like it because it's mystery, it has the lovey dovey stuff, it has the good moments, and it's like your fairy tales or like those heartfelt stories you watched as a little kid. But there's so much more background for each villain. Like the villain, you can argue that the villains aren't actually a villain because the backstory is so intricate and then you feel bad for some or you just hate some or you like some better than the hero even. So I feel like the intricacies of that is super duper interesting and it's like mystery too a lot of the time because you're wondering like it starts out with a curse in the first season and you're trying to figure out how to break said curse. And it's like a constant thing within each season, and they break up seasons into halves. So if you don't like that villain, you only have to wait about 10 episodes till they get to the next villain most of the time. And then if your favorite villain dies out or like they disappear for a little bit, they tend to like bring them back somehow. And it's a really good ending, but I would say if you like the first couple of seasons, don't watch past the second to last season because the very last season it feels like it's a series within itself. It's not Once Upon a Time as much because a lot of their characters that were the main characters, they didn't stay for that last season. They just come back for the last episode. So if you're like really, really into the main characters, I'd say maybe just end it second to last season because they didn't know that they were gonna get renewed for another one and they didn't expect to make another season. So like again, there's two endings. You can pick either one. So that's the warning I'd say if you want to watch something like that. Wait, who wrote down the West Wing?
I think that might have been Heather.
Okay, so Heather isn't here, so we're gonna like skip past a couple of things.
Mm.
I'm just gonna say The West Wing. It's a political drama. If you're into that, I
Check.
I can't give enough background.
I know me either.
So go see for yourself, maybe, because it's really different from what I've
I
introduced.
just realized while you were talking, I do have so Melanie so graciously lent me her Netflix account so I can watch some stuff because originally me and my sister wanted to watch The Walking Dead.
Hmm.
It is 10 seasons, so I think I might have you beat. Like they're starting season 10. It has been going on forever. Um, it's a zombie apocalypse for anyone who doesn't know. And yeah, what they like to do is they like to end with a cliffhanger. And so then you start the next episode, but when you start the next episode, it's something completely different, not related to.
Mm.
Or the episode starts with chaos, and then you have to like wait, you have to watch the episode and see how it gets to that chaos. So then
Oh, gotcha, gotcha.
and the only other Netflix thing I started watching was with a friend. She came over and she wanted to watch. It's part of the PS to All the Boys I Love series. The third movie came out,
The third
so
movie?
didn't watch the books, didn't see the other two movies. Only watched the third one, but I
What do
know
you
what's
think
going
about
on.
it?
There's a lot.
It was
Um,
you thought the third movie was a lot?
like it wasn't. This it's just the thing. It was kind of cliche. I am a
Mhm.
romance at heart, but it was kind of cliche. I already knew. Like,
Mhm.
oh, it might be spoilers. I don't know. But I was like, oh, she's gonna have to choose between either staying with this dude or going to the college she actually
College,
wants.
yeah.
And I thought that more would happen, but the whole movie was kind of just her being like, I don't know what to choose, and I'm arguing with my boyfriend, and there's the stepmom,
That's
and the
every
stepmom.
movie that they make.
But
The
I
first
thought I would
movie,
actually
she's
get to
choosing
watch her go
between
to the college, but
yeah,
she
the first
didn't.
two
So
movies, she's choosing between two guys in each movie, and then now she's choosing between the college and the guy. And I liked it because I was like, okay, it's a good first watch. If you're in the mood for something like a little bit more cheesy, then like go for it. But it's
cute,
definitely
but like I just expected more to happen. I guess
yeah.
like
That one
they
was the
yeah.
most mellow of all the three, I'd say. It's the least like roller coastery for the plot. The other two are much more dramatic, I feel like. So
Also, I forgot to put this in, but Stranger Things is really good. I started watching it. It's a sci-fi and it's got 3 seasons.
I
yeah.
haven't watched the other two. I just know it's a big series, so maybe that's what you can do. You can go start reading a book series or start watching TV
Hmm.
shows. That's something you do during quarantine.
Yeah. So
Okay.
speaking of movies, we have a whole list of them. Eva, you want to start out?
So one of them I put in was Couples Retreat. I think it's funny. I don't actually know the rating on it because um, there's a lot of references that are more mature references for sure. I'm pretty sure it's like swearing and stuff too. So whatever age,
Hmm.
just keep in mind that.
Yeah.
Um, but it's this couple and they're kind of having like a rocky relationship. So they want to go and like do some therapy and counseling stuff, right? And they've got other friends who are in relationships, and they're like, hey, why don't we go to this like paradise like resort, right? Where you do
Rich.
therapy stuff, and they're like, we can all go as a group because it'll be cheaper and it'll be fun, whatever. And we'll do the counseling, and you guys can do all the fun activities because like the pamphlet has like canoeing and surfing and like whatever, all this fun stuff. And they go, okay. But then they go, and it's basically the therapy and the counseling goes for all of them. So then, like, they're trying to like fix each other's relationships, but the other couples that didn't sign up for that, they're like, "Whoa, wait, do I not know you as I like thought how much I knew you?" That was not correct grammar at all. But yeah, and it's really funny because you get to watch them do all these awkward activities where it's like, say something like about your partner and stuff, and they're like, it's kind of funny.
Yeah.
Um, Date Night has Steve Carell from The Office, if you didn't know. So he's a famous actor, and it's actually really funny. It's like a thriller, I guess, kind of horror comedy.
Hmm.
Basically, he and his wife they're going to a party, and in the party, the host had invited um, like a fake. Basically, these guys like brutally come in and beat this guy up, and they're like, ah ha ha ha, this is a joke, right? You're so funny, but it turns out like they're not joking. Like this was an actual
Oh.
robbery kind of thing, and so like the whole movie is just like Steve Carell and his date running around and like just kind of trying to get to the bottom of
Hmm.
everything and all that. So that's funny.
Hmm.
The Internship is about these two older white guys who go to work at Google, and so it's just it's a comedy, and it's just like
Hmm.
them versus all the new younger techie students and stuff. They're like, no, 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 we can do this too. We're cool. Um, and then I'll leave the rest for you. You can
Okay.
explain if you want.
So I only put two in there. So the first one was Holiday. It was very popular on Netflix. It got released around Christmas time, I think. And I watched it then. It was great. It's a great movie to watch during Christmas, even though the entire movie as a whole takes span over a year's time. But it's really cool because it's basically about these two people that meet and they like don't have dates for the holiday and their family's always bugging them about like spending, the holiday with someone. And it was really, really interesting. Even though it was sort of kind of cliche, I'd say, but like it was a really nice rom-com overall. Like compared to the rest of the ones on Netflix, I'd say that was one of the better ones. And then the next one, oof, The Greatest Showman. I remember Heather would always freak about this, and she was like, "It's so, so, so good." And I told her, and I was like, "I don't know, I thought it was sort of kind of okay." She was like, "What?" And I'm sure she would back that up here. And
No,
the reason I said it was sort of kind of okay was because the first time watching it, I was on a flight to China. And this is like years ago, and I was watching it, and then I fell asleep, and then I watched it, and I fell asleep. So I didn't technically watch it, but like from what I got from it, because I only watched certain bits, like chopped
mhm.
up pieces of it, it wasn't too good for me, obviously. Like, I don't think any movie would be good if you slept through half of it. So, So I rewatched that recently in like recent months, and I loved it. Like truly, now I understand why Heather was like, it's so good. I feel like most people, if you have access to it, definitely watch it, even if you think you might not like it. There's a good chance there's something in there for everyone. So
Mhm.
that's why I really liked it. It gets you in your feels, like really. If you watch it like later in the afternoon, like do not watch a movie in the morning or like at 12. I feel like it's a little bit weird.
No, do it like late at night when you're in your most like feels, you know, you
Yeah,
can
yeah,
be
yeah.
emotionally vulnerable to all sorts of
Yeah.
movies and then watch all the sad movies.
And then watch all the
Every,
sad ones.
every movie, it's like starting out good. They're building up like here's the context and the setting, and then something horrible happens, and then you're like dang it, and then you just have to recover, and then it usually is okay.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah.
The worst ones are where they're not okay in the end. Like it just is crappy and it will stay crappy, and you're like
Like
no.
the series of unfortunate events or something like that, or like the really bad whatever movie that ends bad too. And they tell you in the beginning, like, oh, don't read this book or don't watch this movie because it will not have a happy ending. And they delivered on that. My
Yeah, if you want to cry, you should watch Life is Beautiful. We were not, I don't want to say forced. I mean, we kind of were, but it was a good movie. During the Holocaust unit in school, we watched Life is Beautiful, which just takes you
oh,
like the perspective of this Jewish family during the Holocaust. I'm not gonna spoil anything, but it's depressing. You
mhm.
probably will cry, but it's a good movie. You should
Oh
watch
yeah,
it.
I tried so hard not to cry during
I
it.
showed it to my sister. I don't know why I did that.
You gotta give her the
I was
experience
like,
because
you
I don't
have,
know.
I cried. You have to watch this.
Yeah,
She
like the
also
stuff
cried.
with like Bridge to Terabithia. Or,
Bridge to Terabithia, that one's sad too.
yeah,
Actually,
I
I don't
didn't
think I cried
I
during
didn't
that one.
understand like the big part of it. You know, the big thing that happens. I didn't understand it because I was skimming over the book trying to like get it done so I could do my book report. And
We
and
should.
I was like reading it and they're like, okay, and then in class because we were all reading it as a class, they were like, okay, now this part, and I was like, what? I didn't understand it. I just knew they were sad, and I was like, wait, why this?
That movie, I low key wanted to paint my walls gold because I want to see if the sun will like make it look
Oh,
beautiful.
yeah, it's really good. So speaking of books, we have. I think you put in most of them.
Oh yeah, okay. So
Yeah.
I put in the Echo Room because
Mhm.
a speaker had come to her school and been like promoting her book, and I was like, that sounds kind of cool. It's um, it's kind of like a government experiment kind of one of those books. So
Mhm.
yeah, and basically it's these two strangers. They wake up in the room and they don't know each other, but they kind of have to like help each other escape. The problem is at a certain time every day because of what the government like injected or something. I don't know if that's
Mm.
kind of a spoiler, but um, the government's like messing with them, and so like at a
Mhm.
certain time every day, everything resets. Like so, like all their memories and stuff. So like objects where they put them is the same, but then every time it resets, they don't know each other again. So it's
Oh.
kind of like, and then yeah, they have to make the right choices and get the timing right and all that stuff. And it's, I think it's really cool. Um, and then like Melanie brought up, a series of unfortunate events. It's like 13 books. It's about these three kids. They're orphans and they're from a very rich family, but the eldest daughter, like you can't, they don't have access to the money until she turns 18, and
Mhm.
so they go to live with like their uncle, but he's like really mean and he just wants the money. And so the whole series is them escaping the uncle. I believe it's their uncle. They're escaping the uncle and like living with other relatives, but there's like a lot of death and just sadness
There's a
that
lot.
goes with that. That's why it's an unfortunate, a
Oh
series of
man.
unfortunate events, but it's a good one.
But like the eldest daughter, she was so smart in that one part. I remember reading that part as a sixth grader and being like,
All
oh
of
my
them are
goodness,
cool.
she did that.
I
Yeah.
like Claus because he's like the brainiac, and so he like thinks.
Mm. Mhm.
Um, I also put in the Divergent series, which is also they made movies of them, so you should go check that out. That's kind of another like the city of Chicago. It's like another like government thing where like they kind of
Mhm.
built that city, and then it's like split up into different factions. So and then they just kind of watch how like the city unfolds, and so I don't know. I think that's kind of cool too.
Mhm.
And then as you go on, they kind of like break out of it and stuff. That was
Oh yeah.
probably a huge spoiler because you don't know that it's like a whole thing is kind of like a lie until like the third book. But
It's fine. We can just
still
bleep it
sucks.
out in case people want to read it.
I'll put like spoiler mentions or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then I don't know the last one. Did you put that in or Heather?
I think Heather did. So there's one more that I just remembered as we were talking about this. So if you're in middle school, I'd assume this would be more towards middle school audiences. So if some middle schoolers listening to this, or like you're around that age, first of all, I really hope you haven't watched our more explicit one. Second of all, I was gonna recommend the Isle of the Lost series. I really like that, and also happily, it was like happily ever after or something like that. One of those. It was like fairy tale characters, but in schools and whatnot. I forgot what it was called. Jeez, I think it was happily ever
Is that
after.
the one where it's like the daughters and sons of all like
Yeah.
yeah.
And so yeah, definitely like I'm more fairy tale stuff. So those two books are sort of kind of more on the Disney fairy tale side of things. So if you're into that, those are two series that I would highly recommend.
There's another series where it's like the Land of Stories. There's another like it's this brother and sister and they have to go find like Cinderella's shoe and they have to get a walk Rapunzel's hair because they get sucked into this storybook and so they have to like get all this to like escape. And I think
That reminds me of like the Magic Tree House thing.
Yes, I always read those out of order. I had no idea what was going on.
Out of order completely. I'd be like, wait, didn't they already have this artifact? Oh wait, now they suddenly are missing stuff.
I know. Yeah. I still thought it was fun. And also Rainbow Magic Fairies. That was another series. Once again,
Eva has a Rainbow Magic Fairy. I don't.
Yeah, we looked it up. There's Eva, the enchanted ball fairy, but Melon, there's no Melanie.
There's no. It's offensive.
You're so unique. You are the fairy, Melanie.
I read like every single one that they had in the library. Like each week, I'd go to the library and be like, okay, did someone return a new one? And they don't have mine.
The mom fairy. Oh my god, with your mom arms and like your babysitting. I hope that's a thing. And then it's like, I don't know. There's no male one. There's gonna be like David. Okay, it could be like Danielle, the dad. No, what? Oh my god, you can tell we haven't read in a long time because we're just suggesting all these like really old like middle school, elementary school books.
I don't read anymore. I'm sure Eva reads more than me. Heather reads a lot, which is why I'm so sad she's not here today because she reads.
Would have covered this for us. Oh my god.
Yeah. Like when we were at Barnes and Noble, she'd be like, "Oh my goodness, this book I read, like highly recommend this one to you." I'd be like, "How do you have time to read all this?" It's amazing.
My sister is more of a series person, where she like. I'm kind of just like one-offs, where it's just like.
Oh yeah, same. So except for Percy Jackson again, but I feel like we've promoted it so much on this podcast.
Yes, Percy Jackson, Harry Potter, all of them.
We love them.
Maze Runner.
But they don't need us to talk about those because they're so out there that like you most people have read one or the other most of the time.
Go watch the Harry Potter movie. That's what me and my sister did. We watched all the Harry Potter movies. Still have not touched the book.
I fell asleep within half an hour of the first one.
During the movie?
It was a little kid. My mom has all of them because she loves the movies, and I was watching it one day and I like fell right asleep. So, not a Harry Potter fan on this side. Don't come for me.
I fell asleep in the theater watching Spider-Way. I just mixed up my words. SpiderMan: Far From Home, I believe.
Oh.
It's not because it's a bad movie. I was at a sleepover and we had stayed up till like 3, and then as you know, I get up early, so I woke up at like 7, so I was running on like 4 hours of sleep. And I just couldn't. And it was a really nice one where they lean back and they're
it's the nice red big chairs, right?
And so I just straight up fell asleep.
Yeah, I can't blame you for that one. You gotta get your sleep in, you know. Okay, so we've gone through all the big stuff that you can like binge, and here are some other activities that you can also do during quarantine because like we've gone through all this stuff during quarantine. There's like so much time on our hands, so like put down the phone, maybe try out something new that maybe you were interested in but always was like I don't have time for this. Well, now you got the time most likely if it's not like an outdoors type of thing. Okay, so the first one I put down was puzzles. The first week that we got off of school and they're like, oh, we're not going to be at school for 2 weeks, I was still in the mindset of constantly doing stuff, opposed to now where I don't do homework. I was constantly
opposite. I was like, I'm not doing anything. Now I'm more like, oh, I should do something with my time. I'm not
Now
doing anything. It's
I
just
just don't have the motivation. Like in the beginning of quarantine, I was working constantly. So
no.
I was like,
I was like, I
Mom,
don't have
can I
PE, don't have to run, nothing,
don't
nothing.
run
Didn't even
anymore?
attend some of the meetings because
Oh
they
yeah,
we thought we
they're
were only gonna
optional.
have like 2 weeks, so they're like meetings are optional, and I was like not doing those,
Not
especially
doing it
not
if
playing
it's
with
optional. I'm
classes.
sleeping in. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So like I would literally finish schoolwork in 2 hours and be like, okay, sweet. So I would do my puzzles here on this floor and I would sit here for 6 hours straight, back cramping up,
Dude, I
working on
cannot. My mom loves puzzles. Like we recently finished a puzzle.
hmm.
My parents did most of it because my mom, she's one of those, okay, we just dealt with all the edge pieces and
Oh
then
yeah,
we're gonna
edge
keep
pieces
going. No,
first.
I'm just like, hey, this one has words. This one has similar words. And so I'm like, if I were to do a puzzle by myself, would not do the edge first, even though I know that's smart. But I just wouldn't. I would just have like little clumps and then I just walk away because then I get upset and I can't find the piece. And I'm just like, oh. My mom could sit there for like hours. I come in
Yeah,
every few
I'm like that.
minutes. I'm like, let's try
No, I
again.
have to sit there for hours and it'll literally go by. One time I sat here from
Mhm.
12 p.m. to 8 and my mom was like, "You haven't eaten anything." I
I
had
have
music in the background.
patience.
I was good. I was on the ground, on my knees, back cramping up, hunched over, sorting out the colors and everything, and I loved every minute of it. It's
No. No, no, my mom is like, we dump them out and we turn everything over. And I'm just like, eh. How? Yeah, the puzzles are really good. You can do them with family or by
Mhm.
yourself. You can just eat and listen to music. It's actually really nice.
Yeah, just make sure you have a space designated for it because it'll probably
Yeah,
take you
depending on
like
the
at
size
least
of
like
your
a day.
puzzles, you might need some
Yeah.
space.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Next one on the list, baking. So I got really into this again in the beginning of quarantine. I just became like I need to know everything because I have so much time. So we're gonna learn everything. So I started doing a lot more baking. There's like really easy recipes out there. Again, start easy. Do not go for the freaking red velvet cupcakes with
Yeah.
chocolate in the goo. Don't do that. Start out basic, a sugar cookie, a chocolate chip cookie. They require very little ingredients in my opinion. You can easily get them at Safeway for maybe 15 bucks total and you can make like a bunch of times. So try that because cake mixes, cookie mixes, as good as they are never as satisfying as when you make it yourself. Even
Hmm.
if they may taste better, you know, you're proud of what you put out. So try that because it takes about maybe 2 hours total.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And cooking is such a good skill. You can save money on like instead of having to eat out all the time
Hmm.
or if like you're busy. It's so nice to know how to cook and bake for yourself and
It
it's fun.
is. And you're proud of yourself after because you're like, I made that. Unless it's bad, in which case you're like, I burned that.
I yeah, then you're like, oh just eat something else. I'll eat the
Oh,
ramen with cup
yeah.
noodle. Oh my
Okay,
god.
so next one on the list, reading. We went
Yeah,
over it,
reading.
but
And
seriously,
now you have a whole new series to go
you
explore
do.
if you're like in elementary or middle school because we recommended.
Rainbow magic, guys. Learn your fairies, learn your colors, and learn all the hobbies that they.
Yes, go with the magic, freaking magic tree house and go learn about, the ancient samurai and
They
whatnot.
they
Really
do.
awesome.
Like some of them genuine history. I learned more um about how Thanksgiving came to be in that than I did in school. And I stand by that. So, it's a great read, especially if you're younger. Even when you're older, like sometimes you just want to read back and be like nostalgic about it. Like there's certain series that you can read. I probably won't be reading Rainbow Magic when I'm
No.
16, 17, but
I read so many of those books and then I finally realized it's the same plot. That's why I
yeah.
read them out of order also because Jack Frost, he just ends up he has something and then they
Hmm.
find the fairy, Rachel and Christy or whatever her name is, and they're like, "Oh, we'll help the fairy." And then that's all it is. It's that. Like the
It's all
fairies are constantly losing everything. That's all I've learned. But,
they always misplace stuff and I'm like, the goblins, they just you know what? How do they have so many goblins? Where do they come from?
I don't know.
I
Is there
forget. I'm sure like people that read it are like, oh my goodness, this is so offensive to the series because I don't know anything anymore. You ask me what a
also
fairy is,
we're
and
literally high schoolers just
yeah,
completely
we're high
crap
schoolers
all
talking
over
about
this
fairies.
this series that we read. Okay, but
Yeah.
anyways, moving on.
Mm.
So we have reading. We still have dancing. I love just dancing and singing. It's fun.
Mhm.
You should if you have Just Dance, they have it so it's like online, so you don't even have to have like the Wii and everything, all
Mm.
the discs. You can just go online and like choose songs, and your whole family can do it.
Yeah. Even if you do it like on your own, it's completely fine because some days you just want to like go in your room and just dance and sing and like do that on your own. But what I hate, if you don't like Just Dance and one of your friends does, do not sit there on the couch and go with the Wii
My
remote, just
mom
flinging it
won
around,
so many
trying to get it.
rounds
And
by
I'm like,
just
no, you better stand up, okay? You better stand
you
up
better
and start
stand up,
dancing.
and you better move your legs too.
Yes. Because if you're just swinging around the remote in the right areas to get perfects each time, that's just disrespectful. Come on, go like full
Come
out.
sweat with me. Actually,
Yeah. Like, I hate it when people do that and they're just like, okay, I could probably beat you. And I'm like, no, you can't. And then they sit on the couch and do it. And I'm like,
wow, yeah, you worked out your right arm. Impressive.
congrats. I'm sure you're going to be all lopsided after.
I hope you're lopsided after this. It's just
Yeah.
just sitting on the couch. You just get
It's
angry
like a
about
jacked right arm. Yeah. Oh my god. Okay, so the next one is just cleaning. Like, cleaning anything.
it.
Sometimes.
Everyone cleaned during quarantine. Oh my goodness. Everyone just started cleaning, which is
Yeah. Not only just to like procrastinate, but also you just feel more organized. Like you organize. There's this thing where you organize stuff in order to feel like you're organizing your mind too, because you're also just like a cleaner space gives you a cleaner mind like space to like get work done. So if your desk is all messy, chances are you're not gonna want to work there. You're gonna be like, I have to clean it first. Yeah. But if your desk is all clean,
it's really nice to have like your work area and everything clean.
because if you just have your computer there, your pencils are nice and set, your notepad is there, you're ready to work. And it'll put you in a mindset to want to do more work, most likely.
If it's all dirty, you won't like working because it just feels kind of cramped and gross.
Yeah. Okay.
Alright. So the next one is exercising, which we can go with Just Dance.
Yeah.
I've kind of been getting into like dance workouts.
We love.
Except like I'm kind of bad at them, but it's a lot of fun, and I probably look really stupid doing them. But it's a lot of fun because they actually like play music, so you just kind of like moving. So you feel good. I feel good when I exercise.
Yeah.
When I'm productive, I feel good.
Yeah, because it's productive, you're bettering yourself, like your health wise, and it releases endorphins. So literally you're happier after you do the workout most of the time. So like
and like just die together on the yoga mat. It's like have fun.
Yeah, like whether that's going outside and running, again, like trails are still open, so just stay safe during that. I have my mask on when I'm running. Some people like to have it down until there's someone right next to them and then they pull it up. Because I do understand it's sort of kind of hard to breathe when you're like, and then there's like, your mask is right there and it's like stuffing into your nose. It's just not too fun. But like, yeah, it depends. Just stay safe during that. And biking, super duper fun. You're probably gonna have your mask on the entire time. It really isn't too bad on like cardio wise, but your legs hurt. Yeah.
The
It's
air
so nice out.
in the sun, it's just I get happy. And you listen to music.
Oh yeah. Make sure to have a good playlist, and then you're just set to go.
Yeah, our podcast. We should have put podcasts in here. Maybe we could. Okay, I only have one podcast I listen to, but you know, if you have any you want to recommend.
I listen to so many podcasts. It's insane. But yeah, so for exercising, also you're wearing a mask. Chances are you might have a hat on, sunglasses on. No one will recognize you. No one will recognize you. So the chances of you seeing someone and them recognizing you are like 0 to none, essentially. Because I've been out so many times and then I see people that I know and I'm like, oh no. But they don't recognize me. So we're cool. And that's what I worried about before because I used to be really shy when running outside because I didn't like when people would like see me. But you're all covered up now, so like chances are they aren't gonna yell at you because they're not gonna know if that's really you. Like they don't want to yell at someone, be like, "Hey!"
Yeah.
I'm like, "Who the hell are
you?" Don't know you.
Yeah.
Okay, but the people at grocery stores that wear the bandanas as masks, it counts. That's great. But if you're wearing a hoodie and now with their hood up, they look like criminals, and I'm kind of scared. They just look like they're gonna rob the place or something because they got like their bandana and then they have like their sunglasses and their hood up. And there's like nothing against that, but I'm just like, oh, okay.
It does make you a little bit scared because previously, if they did that, like
if
before COVID, you'd probably be like a little bit like that's a little bit suspicious. But like, yeah. Anytime I walk anywhere now, because I do the full out, I wear all black most of the time. I have my cap, my sunglasses, everything. And I'm like, I have a backpack with me too when I go biking, just because I like having all my stuff with me. Like, if someone is about to bleed out, I could probably save them with the stuff in my backpack.
You
So,
do. Oh my God. You have
yeah,
like your first aid kit, your
I
snacks,
do.
your water, your music, your earbuds, your
Yeah,
phone, your charger, just
my
all of it.
portable
Hand
charger,
sanitizer.
the bike lock, and everything. So, like, I have a backpack with me, and in my mind, I'm like, do people think I'm doing anything suspicious with like a backpack and everything? No, yeah. It's great because if you're always scared of
No one
getting
does.
recognized and people being like, oh my goodness, you run really slow or whatever, whatever, well, they don't know who you are now because now you're all covered up. So you're sort of kind of chill on that end. And the last one we have, which Heather does a lot of, and I'm sure she would highly, highly recommend it if she was here, is drawing. Like,
Hmm.
it doesn't even have, you don't have to consider yourself to be a good artist to draw. Like, draw whatever your heart desires, whether that's a little, like, house with the triangle and the square. Sometimes just drawing out how you feel helps. So like definitely try that or try to like draw something new. Like Heather does a lot of art. It's insane.
Yeah.
She does art on her hand, she does art on canvases, on especially on iPad I think she uses,
Hmm.
which is
We use like
what we have as our new cover photo by now as you can see. She's an
yes.
amazing artist, yeah.
Hmm. Go watch. Ooh, it's coming out.
Oh yeah,
The
it came out
the
before this.
long-awaited brain cell video will be coming
Yeah.
out, which
It
will
came out
explain.
last week. Heather still has the brain cell, which is sort of kind of offensive because, like, share, dude. 6 people sharing it. You gotta pass around the knowledge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, art is so it's affordable too because you don't need like just drawing. You really just need a paper, pencil, and maybe an eraser too.
Mhm.
Like even just a pen. You don't have to have like all the canvases and all the expensive
Yeah.
Copic markers and your oil paints and your
Yeah.
paintbrushes like Bob Ross. You can
Mm.
just yeah, it just you can yeah. You
Yeah.
can just draw with pencil and paper. You can follow along with YouTube videos. You can just look up
Mhm.
images and try drawing them. You can
Mhm.
trace pictures and just practice coloring. There's all sorts of different methods of coloring
Mhm.
and texture, like cross hatching and all that stuff.
So that was the episode for today. Make sure to check out tomorrow's bonus because it's actually just more on stuff you could do during quarantine, which hey, if you need something to do, listen to our podcast, listen to our previous ones. Highly suggest Unsolicited Advice. Highly suggest the Brain Cell Story. That is like the
Oh,
center.
it's good. I'm in the middle of editing. It's good. You're gonna love it. You better watch it.
And we have an upcoming video really soon, which Eva is currently editing. It's probably going to be amazing. So make sure to subscribe because once it comes out on YouTube, you'll be the first one to see it because it won't be out on audio. So yeah, so it's YouTube only. So make sure to subscribe to our YouTube because that's where the most content comes out. All our trailers and full episodes and bonuses are always on YouTube. For audio, it's just most of our all of our episodes and then sometimes a bonus. If it's like a pretty long one, then we'll put it out on audio. And then our Instagram is all our trailers most of the time and our cover photos. So make sure to subscribe to YouTube because that just has everything and Eva puts so much work into the videos. It's insane. So yeah, come back next week for a brand new topic. Oh, next week's gonna be a good one. So yeah, thanks for watching or listening, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye!